Don't use hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins your credibility. Don't use hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins your credibility. My life has been a living nightmare. I spent like 20 years solitary in a fantasy land, deprived of interpersonal relationships. I had hostile dependency with my parents, and I compared my stepfather to Joseph Fritzl. If you don't know who that is, he kept his daughter in a dungeon, torturing her. You know, that's not literally true for me. I was not tortured by my stepfather or mother. Don't compare things with hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. Don't use hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. I often compare myself to Otto Warmbier. I say I was tortured. Maybe, but I was not tortured by the North Koreans. I was not put into a vegetative state. I was not, sadistically tortured. Am I a little bit like maybe Roger Waters or Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd The Wall? Do I maybe have some sort of neurological damage? Like Brian Wilson or Syd Barrett? Maybe. Was I in a solitary fantasy land? Did I build up a wall that separated me from the rest of society? Yeah. Am I a little bit of a vegetable mind? Yeah. But when I compare myself to Otto Warmbier, when I compare my stepfather to Joseph Fritzl, that's not literally true. So don't use hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. You see, my life has been a living nightmare. Imagine, if you got somebody who suffered tremendously like me, and they start being dramatic and embellishing and start saying how they lived through, they lived in a death camp and they were kept in a dungeon and they were, ridiculously tortured. Metaphorically, it feels true. The emotional charge feels true. And maybe I was projecting my sexual frustration and the constraints of my life onto my mother and stepfather. Maybe the emotional charge is true, but they did not get off sexually from my pain and suffering. I was not tortured. Did I spend 20 years alone? Has my life been a living nightmare? Has my life been hell on earth? Yes. But when you use hyperbole, it ruins your credibility. So don't be dramatic. Don't be sensationalistic. Don't embellish. Use literal, grounded in reality examples. Say I'm like Joanne Greenberg from I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Or like Roger Waters and Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd The Wall. Or like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. Those are more realistic examples. My stepfather is not like Joseph Fritzl. I am not like Otto Warmbier.